So if you've ever given meditation a shot, you know the tough part isn't just, sitting still. It's getting your mind to quiet down. But what if I told you one of the biggest hurdles isn't actually your thoughts? What if it's the clock? Well, today we're going to dig into a super simple but really powerful tool that's made to tackle that exact problem.
All right, be honest. Have you ever done this? You're maybe 5 minutes in, you're trying to focus on your breath, and then that little voice pops into your head, how much longer? And you just crack open one eye for a peek. Don't worry, we've all totally been there.
You know, that feeling actually has a name. It's called time anxiety. And it's this nagging little worry about the clock that just yanks you right out of the present moment. It's pretty much the enemy of what you're trying to do, right?
Okay, so let's really get into this whole clock-watching problem. It's this fundamental clash between trying to be mindful and our modern obsession with tracking every single second.
And here's the ironic part, right? The very tools we turn to for a little peace and quiet can actually become part of the problem. You know the drill. You download a meditation app hoping for some zen, and what do you get? Ads, social feeds, endless notifications. It just adds to all the mental chatter. Instead of helping, they just create more distractions and honestly more pressure.
So what's the alternative then? What if the real solution isn't about piling on more features, but actually taking them away? I'm talking about stripping away all that complexity and just getting back to basics. And the solution is, well, it's beautifully simple. It's a dedicated meditation timer. Seriously, that's it. It has one job and one job only, to hold the time for you so that you don't have to think about it. It just gives you a gentle sound to start and another one to end. That's it. Your mind is completely free from clock-watching duty.
And the benefits? Oh, they're super direct. When you get rid of that time anxiety, it suddenly becomes way easier to build a consistent habit. And that's the key. That consistency is what lets you slowly, comfortably make your sessions a little longer over time, all without that feeling of pressure.
So, what actually makes a good timer? Well, spoiler alert, it's not about having a million buttons. It's about having the right features, the ones that actually support your practice instead of, interrupting it.
Okay, let's look at the must-haves. Setting a custom duration, that's non-negotiable. Now, interval chimes, these can be a total game changer for longer sessions. It's just a gentle bell every 5 or 10 minutes that kind of nudges you to bring your focus back. But maybe, just maybe, the most important feature is what's missing. A clean interface with 0 logins and 0 ads. That's the secret sauce for a genuinely distraction-free sit.
And using one couldn't be easier. First, you set your time. And hey, remember, start small. Then you pick a sound that you find calming. You can add intervals or music, but only if you think you need them. And then you just hit start. That's it. You've officially handed over the job of clock watching.
Okay, so this all sounds great in theory, right? But which tools should you actually go out and use? Well, it turns out the options kind of fall into a few different buckets, and each one has its own vibe, its own philosophy.
And you can really see the whole spectrum here. On one end of the scale, you've got something like the Yoga Chaitanya timer. It's super clean, purely functional, 0 distractions. Then way on the other end, you have an app like Insight Timer, which is this huge ecosystem with guided tracks, courses, community features, the whole shebang. And of course, there's a bunch of stuff in between, from other minimalist timers to even some faith-based tools.
So what this really boils down to is a fundamental trade-off. Are you looking for a simple tool that does one thing perfectly and then just gets out of your way? Or do you want a full-blown app that gives you guided content, tracks your progress, and connects you with a community? Look, there's no right or wrong answer here. It really just depends on what you need to support your practice.
All right, so once you've picked your tool, how do you actually build a consistent practice around it? Let's go over a few key tips that can help make meditation a habit that actually sticks.
This has got to be the #1 question anyone asks when they start. How long am I supposed to do this for? 5 minutes? An hour? Is there some magic number?
And the answer is refreshingly simple. Just start with 5 to 10 minutes. Seriously, the goal here isn't to run a mental marathon. It's about building a habit. And a short session you do every day is way, way more powerful than a super long one you only do once in a while.
Okay, next up, another classic question. What's the best time to meditate? Should you be one of those morning people, or is it better to do it at night to unwind?
And once again, the answer is all about consistency, not about some strict rule. The best time? It's whatever time you'll actually do it. If mornings work for you, that's awesome. It can set a really calm tone for your whole day. If evenings are your jam, that's perfect for de-stressing before bed. The real key is just finding a slot in your schedule that you can stick with.
Now this is a pretty big debate in the meditation world. Should you go for pure silence, where your mind is the only sound, or is it okay to have some music or background audio playing?
Well, the answer here is actually pretty practical. Sure, silence is amazing for really sharpening your attention, but let's get real. Not many of us live in a perfectly silent monastery, right? If you've got traffic noise or noisy neighbors or kids running around, a little ambient music can be a lifesaver. It can help mask all those distractions so you can actually find your focus.
I really love this quote. It's from the creator of one of the timers we looked at, and I think it just perfectly nails the whole point of this tool. The timer's job is to handle the schedule. Your job is to cultivate patience, and that's something that stays with you long, long after that final bell rings.
And that really brings us right back to the central question, doesn't it? In this world where every app is just jam-packed with features, maybe the most powerful tool is the one that has, well, almost none. As you build your own practice, the real question to ask yourself isn't just what's the right app, but what do I really need to get out of my own way? And sometimes, the answer is just less.